Yes, indeed, another very warm welcome back to Classic Dirt Bike TV once again, as we take a look at more racing highlights from the 2010 Blencarn Classic Scramble. Of course, I hope you enjoyed part one of the racing highlights from this event, and this of course is part two, held on the 13th of June. As you can see, the weather was a bit overcast on the day, but nevertheless quite good for this kind of classic racing. So we're just going to go straight into the British Championship round for the pre-65 bikes. The Blencarn Scramble always hosts one of these rounds of the British Championship each and every year. So this is race one. And as they leave the line, it's an excellent start by Ricky Pedder there in second position. But it looks like our race leader is number, I think that's 216, I think that's David Bell, who is your race leader. Ricky Pedder is in second position there on the, I think that's a Triumph Twin. Steve Gagg is in third place as they all make the turn to begin lap one. Now, these British Championship races are slightly longer than the standard vintage classic races. I think the standard classic races at this event are normally about 4 or 5 laps, but these British Championship races I think are 10 minutes plus 1 lap normally, so quite a long race for these old bikes and older riders. But it's still at number 216, David Bell, your race leader. Now, I'm not entirely sure as to what David is riding there. It looks like a Rickman, but I think it looks like an old Jawa machine. But going very well in it anyway. In first place, we're looking at number 466. That's Steve Gagg, riding very well on his what I think is a Tripsa, the Triumph engine inside the BSA frame. Number 43 there is Andy Cam. Let's try and pick out one or two more of the riders. Number 98 is Liston Bell. That's Graham Bell just going through there, number 467. But it's still David Bell, your race leader, with Ricky Pedder there, and I think that's a Triumph Twin that Ricky Pedder is riding, all done up in the green Kawasaki colours, but I'm almost sure it's a twin cylinder Triumph. But Ricky's looking to get up to terms with David Bell for that first place position, so we could see a good battle between these two talented riders for that pole position. Now, of course, these British Championship rounds are held at various vintage scrambles events across the UK, and this particular event here at Blencarn normally holds at least 2 rounds of that championship. So it's still David Bell, your race leader, with Ricky Pedder close behind there, number 163 on that very quick Triumph machine. I think Steve Gagg is still in third position. And once again, I do apologise for not being able to name more of the riders. Normally when I do the commentary on these videos, I do have information with regards the numbers of the riders and their machines, but unfortunately I'm just really working from memory here from 2010, so I do hope that I'm getting most of the facts right on this particular video. But it's Ricky Pedder now who is your race leader, David Bell in second position, but I still think that David Bell has got something in the tank before the end of this race, so look out for a decent battle between these two before the end of this British Championship pre-65 race. Now, it's usually quite a busy day at this Blencarn Scramble, and I think there's normally about 25 or even 26 races on the day, so there's plenty racing for everybody to take a look at, and this of course is just a very small sample of what went down on the day. But this is a good battle here between Ricky Pedder and David Bell. Absolutely nothing between these two riders, although Ricky appears to have the slight advantage at this point. But looks like David is certainly looking to get that pole position back again. And as far as I'm aware, there are two classes for this British Championship event. This is of course the pre-65 class, and they also have a class for the pre-1974 machines. But this is still a good race here between Ricky Pedder and David Bell. Absolutely nothing between these two riders. Looks like David is lining up another pass on Ricky Pedder, but Ricky Pedder closes the door and keeps David Bell at arm's length. But you can see that David Bell is riding the wheels off that machine to try and make the pass on this very quick Triumph twin of Ricky Pedder. So as they come round to complete another racing lap, it's still Ricky Pedder, number 163, leads David Bell, number 216. Now, of course, this is always a fantastic event to attend at this Blencarn Scramble, because we normally have entertainment laid on the Saturday night with the hog roast and live entertainment. So it's a good chance to chill out and have a beer and a chat with your friends before the racing commences on Sunday morning. But it's still Ricky Pedder, your race leader, who leads David Bell. Absolutely nothing between these two riders, so any one of these two riders could cross the line in first position, but it's still Ricky Pedder with a slight advantage as they both come round to pass number 17, and that is of course Richard Bird. And so as the laps count down in this first British Championship pre-1965 race, it's still Ricky Pedder, your race leader, for number 216, David Bell, as they come to cross the finish line to complete another racing lap. And of course we do hope this Blencarn Scramble starts back up again. Fortunately it's not been held since I think it was 2019, and of course the dreaded COVID put paid to the 2020 event and possibly even this 2021 event, but hopefully the following year we will see the return of this fantastic weekend here at Lownthwaite Farm. But it's still Ricky Pedder, number 163, your race leader, who leads David Bell, number 216. Very good race between these two riders. It's Ricky Pedder with the big twin cylinder Triumph machine decked out on those green Kawasaki colours. But Ricky Pedder doing very well in this British Championship race. David Bell doing everything he can to try and get a pass on this rider. And as I mentioned, quite a longer race for these British Championship riders. 10 minutes plus a lap maybe doesn't sound too long when you say it, but when you're riding these big heavy bikes with their limited suspension, it can be quite a long time on one of these old racers. But it's still a good battle here between Ricky Pedder and David Bell. Absolutely nothing between these riders since they left the start line. So this is still anybody's race, and David looks like he's lining up a pass on Ricky Pedder. He's got the inside line, but can he turn tight? Looks like Ricky Pedder is now going to steal that track position back once again, but a very good scrap between these two vintage race bikes. So as they come round to cross the finish line to complete yet another racing lap, it's still Ricky Pedder with that slight advantage over this man here, number 216, David Bell, but as I mentioned earlier, nothing at all between these two riders, so it could be a very good battle by the time they cross the checkered flag. But as you can see, an old school motocross racing track, a little bit like a grass track really, but of course no man-made jumps or fancy berms, just good natural old school motocross terrain. So it's still Ricky Pedder, your race leader, from David Bell in second position. I think David is riding a big 500 Jawa machine, but please feel free to correct me if that is not the case. But still Ricky Pedder with the advantage as they come towards us to complete another racing lap. Got these big engined vintage machines, ideally suited for this kind of racetrack. Big powerful twin of Ricky Pedder's against the single cylinder Jawa 500 of David Bell. So as they cross the line to complete another racing lap, it looks like David Bell has now managed to sneak the lead from Ricky Pedder, but I don't think this race is finished just yet, when Ricky Pedder's been more or less leading this race from the start gate, so he won't want to give up that position too quickly. But it looks like David Bell is now beginning to open up a gap on Ricky Pedder. And of course this is quite a high stakes race, this British Championship Pre-65 race, because of course the winner would then take valuable points towards his tally for the championship at the end of the year. But as they come round to complete another racing lap, it's still David Bell as he pops a little wheelie coming out of the corner, but it's David Bell who is your race leader. In second position is still Ricky Pedder, so I think there's about 2 laps to go as they come round to cross the line once again, but it's David Bell who leads Ricky Pedder, number 163, in second position. And so as our race leaders head towards the far side of the track, the next time they cross the checkered flag, of course, will be their last and final lap. But it's still David Bell who leads Ricky Pedder, but absolutely nothing in it between these two, so either one of these riders could take these valuable championship points. So as they come towards us to cross the line to start their last and final lap of this British Championship pre-1965 class race, it's still number 216 David Bell who has got the lead over second place man number 163 Ricky Pedder, but Ricky Pedder looks like he's slightly farther behind at this point, so David Bell looking quite comfortable for the win at this point. So we're just picking up our race leader David Bell there as he comes towards us on his last and final lap. I don't think Ricky Pedder is going to be close enough to make a challenge at the end of this race, so this has been a fantastic ride by David Bell, number 216, as he comes up to cross the line, and it's valuable championship points for this very talented rider. Also crossing the line is going to be Ricky Pedder in second position. Okay, next up we have the Twin Choke Pirates. We have 2 classes here at the Blencarn Scramble 2010. We have a class for the Twin Choke Bandits and this class here for the Pirates. So they're just about good to go. Just waiting on John Bethel dropping the gate. As they leave the line, it looks like Phil Wadsworth's got quite a good start on that number 12 bike, the big HPF 500 Honda. Looks like everybody's safe round turn 1 as they start this first lap. So here's your race leader, number 12, Phil Wadsworth. Second is number 23, that should be Maurice Wharton. In second place on the 81 490 Michael machine. This 500 HPF Honda that Phil Wadsworth is riding here, of course, is based around the XR500 Honda 4-stroke motor, and then the Horsepower Factory work their magic with regards fitting some exotic cams and some tuning, and it makes these big 500 Hondas into a very quick machine indeed. Number 431 there is Andy Mallock, and Andy's riding that 414 Montesa Capra. Number 18 there is Jim Colligan on the 81490 Michael. Looks like he's just making his way past Chris Cannon on the Suzuki. But it's still number 12, Phil Wadsworth, your race leader. Second now is number 38, that's Ian Charlton. Now you may remember Ian's son Richard was racing in part 1 of this video in the twin shock class on a very quick CCM. So this time it's the turn of Richard's father Ian to take to the track, and who is of course also quick on one of these Alan Clues CCMs. But quite a good field of riders for this twin shock Pirates race. Chris Cannon just going through, number 190 there, that's one of the Watson brothers, that's Simon Watson riding that big 4-stroke JBR 500 Honda machine. But it's still Phil Wadsworth on the HPF Honda who is your race leader. It looks like Phil's got a decent lead on Ian Charlton, but Ian Charlton is beginning to make progress on this lead bike of Phil Wadsworth, so looks like Phil could be coming under pressure just shortly from that very quick Ian Charlton riding that CCM bike. Now of course these CCMs were made famous by the late Alan Clues when he took over the defunct BSA competition department in the early 1970s and began building machines of his own based around the old B50 BSA motor. But Alan worked his magic on these bikes and turned them into very potent 4-stroke motocross machines. So we're just looking at the remainder of the pack as they chase Phil Wadsworth and Ian Charlton in that first and second place positions. At number 18 again is Jim Colligan on the 81490 Michael. But Ian Charlton looks like he's closing in on Phil Wadsworth now, so we could have a change of leader in this Twin Shock Pirates race if Ian can make the move on Phil Wadsworth HPF, and he dives down the outside, but he has to slam the Ian made the move on the outside, but when he found out he wasn't going to make the turn, he slammed that back brake on, and unfortunately he's dropped his CCM just when he was doing so well. But Ian, a very quick rider on one of those old Alan Clues machines, so hopefully he'll get that bike fired up and get back on the track once again. So here's your race leader, number 12, Phil Wadsworth, who looks like he's got a good lead on the second place man, which is not that rider there. I think the second place man is now number 211, just coming towards us on the Honda Red Rocket. It looks like number 199 or 99 is in third. Jim Colligan in a very good fourth place position at this point, so doing very well on that 81 Michael. As we take a look at number 81 there in the yellow, that's Chris Cannon riding that RM250 Suzuki bike. Chris is up against some quite big machines in this Twin Shock Pirates race, but nevertheless doing very well on that little 250 Suzuki. So as the riders come round to cross the line to start their last and final lap of this Twin Shock Pirates race, it's still Phil Wadsworth, your race leader, with number 211 on the Honda Red Rocket in second position. Number 99 is third. Jim Colligan is still in 4th position. Chris Cannon trying to go round the outside and take that position from Jim Colligan, but looks like Jim's still got that track position. But this is quite a good little scrap between the 3rd, 4th and 5th place positions. Looks like Simon Watson is parked trackside there on his JBR Honda, but here's your race leader coming round to take the checkered flag. A very good ride here by Phil Wadsworth on the HPF 500 Honda machine. Number 211 in 2nd position is going to take that runner-up spot. Number 99 is going to finish in 3rd, and it looks like Chris Cannon is going to cross the line in 4th position. Okay, just to finish off this part 2 video from the Blencarn 2010 Scramble, we're going to take a look at the pre-1965 Unlimited class as they leave the line. Another good collection of bikes in this class. So as they come towards us, I can see Steve Gagg there in 2nd position. Remember, Steve did well in previous races in part 1 of this event, so it looks like Steve Gagg is going to be your race leader as they start at lap 1. Now remember, only about 4 or 5 laps for these old classic bikes, and back in the day when I was racing, I always thought that 4 laps was more than enough for my riding skills. So as we watch the riders make their way through on lap 1, we're looking now at our 2nd placed rider. That's number 437. And once again, I apologise for not being able to name the rider, but number 437 looks like he's riding a nice old BSA Victor. But here's your race leader once again, Steve Gagg on the Tribsa machine with the Triumph engine and BSA frame. So as they come round to complete lap 1, it's Steve Gagg, your race leader. Number 437 is 2nd. Number 192 is Chris Collins in 3rd position. Number 385 is Steve Dent, just making his way through there. Number 89 is Mike Bell, and number 467 is Graham Bell. And these two are, of course, unrelated. But it looks like Chris Collins is now moved up into 2nd position. And remember, we had a fantastic race between these two riders in one of the other races from the Blencarn 2010 event, when Steve Gagg and Chris Collins swapped leadership in a previous race, and it was a fantastic race to watch, and it looks like we're going to be in for more of the same in this particular race. So as they come towards us, it's Chris Collins trying to dive down the inside of Steve Gagg, but Steve Gagg is still your race leader at this point. Track conditions are still absolutely perfect for this kind of racing. A bit overcast weather-wise, but nonetheless the track is reasonably dry and good entertainment for the watching spectators. But it's still Steve Gagg who leads number 192, Chris Collins. I think Chris Collins is riding a BSA B44. So Steve Gagg, of course, will have that slight power advantage, but it looks like Chris Collins is now taking the lead from Steve Gagg. So it's Chris Collins, your race leader, as they come round to cross the line to complete another racing lap. Steve Gagg is in 2nd position on that Triumph twin machine. So it's the single cylinder BSA engine of Chris Collins who leads Steve Gagg's Triumph twin bike. I'm just taking a look at some of the other riders crossing the line to complete lap 3. So we're just looking now to the far side of the racetrack to pick up our race leader, which is still number 192, Chris Collins on the BSA, as he comes round to complete his last lap but one. So when they cross the finish line, they will begin their last and final lap of this pre-65 unlimited race. So it's still Chris Collins here, number 192, with Steve Gagg in second position there, number 466. But I do hope you've enjoyed much of the racing from this 2010 Blencarn Classic Scramble. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more of this type of classic racing, if this is the sort of stuff that you like to watch here on YouTube. So as they come towards us for their last and final time, it's still number 192 Chris Collins, your race leader, from number 466 Steve Gagg. So this has been another fantastic ride here by this BSA man. So as they come towards the finish line, it's a win for Chris Collins, with Steve Gagg crossing the line in second position.